Hi, my name is Justin Lebron. You're watching Crimson Drive, and it's driven by NASCAR.
Roll Tide and welcome to this Thursday edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. This is Roger Hoover. Great to be with you from our Tuscaloosa studios on this Thursday afternoon as we prepare for a huge week coming up on campus at the University of Alabama. We'll preview everything by taking a look at what's coming up on the show, plus our headlines thanks to our friends RJ Young. RJ Young is the official technology solutions provider of Crimson Drive. Let's see what's coming up on the show first of all this afternoon. We will start by heading over to the LLH Healthcare Advantage Center to our podcast studio for a one-on-one conversation with Alabama shortstop Justin Lebron, getting to learn all about his junior season at Alabama, even going back early in his journey, what led him to Alabama in the first place. Great conversation with Justin Lebron. Wouldn't you know it, on Monday night, Justin was also our guest on Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. We had a great conversation with him, as well as Pauline Love, the new women's basketball head coach. And then to round out the show, we had a conversation with Kalen DeBoer as he joined Tyler Watts and myself on stage at Baumhauer's to take a look at what's coming up on A-Day. So our replay of our conversation with Kalen DeBoer will round out the show. Going to our headlines first with the Crimson Tide baseball team. An impressive display on Tuesday as Alabama broke out the bats and won 16-2 over the Samford Bulldogs in a run rule victory for Alabama. That win was a notable one for head coach Rob Vaughn. That was his 100th victory that he's picked up in just 2+ seasons at Alabama. We're still midway through his third season, already 100 wins for Rob Vaughn. Congratulations on that milestone. We want to see more wins coming up this weekend. Alabama's at home for a top 25 matchup against the Arkansas Razorbacks. Alabama trying to do something that is extremely hard to do, and that is win 4 straight SEC series. We've seen the back-to-back sweeps of Florida and Auburn at home, the road series win last week at Oklahoma, now trying to pick up a series win against the Razorbacks in Tuscaloosa. Softball team doing a lot of winning right now as Alabama had a also run rule victory earlier this week on Tuesday, beating South Alabama 8-0 at the Rhodes House. This weekend, heading down to the Plains to take on the Auburn Tigers. Alabama, a consensus top 5 team in every poll, currently ranked number 1 by Softball America going into the weekend. Then Ambry Taylor, who will be on this show, Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, coming up next week. She had a home run against Texas. Great performances overall in that series win against the top-ranked Longhorns. As a result, she has been named the SEC Freshman of the Week. I think you're going to enjoy hearing from Ambry Taylor coming up next week on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Next week, we'll have some football conversation as well, as we will on Saturday have everything with the Golden Flake A-Day festivities in Tuscaloosa. Don't forget, head to Denny Chimes for the Walk of Fame ceremony for our captains to be kind of immortalized forever with their handprints and the cleat marks at the base of Denny Chimes. Always a special time before we make our way to Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium for the football game. Our radio start time will be 12:30 across the network coming up on Saturday, and then we'll be on the air from 12:30 until 3 o'clock for all the A-Day festivities. Chris Stewart and Tyler Watts on the call, as that will wrap up spring practice 2026. The next time we'll be talking football will be coming up in the summertime, getting ready for fall camp, and then the season opener for Alabama football against East Carolina. That's a look at our headlines, thanks to our friends RJ Young. And now on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, we're pleased to be joined by Justin Lebron, the shortstop for the Crimson Tide, who doesn't do many interviews like this, but he sat down with us at the LLH Healthcare Advantage Center earlier this week in our podcast studio to discuss his tremendous junior season and what's ahead for the Alabama baseball team. Can you believe time has flown this quickly? Now you're in your junior year.
Yeah, it's honestly crazy to think about. Kind of when I stepped into this fall, I was like, still thinking that I'm still one of the younger guys. I'm a freshman, but honestly, when we just continue to practice, it was like, oh, man, I have a bigger role that I have to step into and kind of take the younger guys underneath my wing. So it's been pretty fun.
How much have you enjoyed that? Kind of speaking up a little bit more. And again, you are one of the true veterans on this team now.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an unbelievable experience. I mean, with the coaching staff and just like the players that have filtered in and out. I mean, I've learned so many things from those guys and kind of just taking my own foot, taking my own path, and just putting it into the younger guys. Yeah.
Was it nice as well? I mean, I know it's tough when you have some losses maybe early in the season. Last year, Alabama got off to such a winning start, didn't face much adversity until later on in the year, but you guys were hit with some adversity early. Did that make you speak up a little bit more as a leader?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it was really good for us. These prior 2 years, I guess we'd started off on a really good, strong foot. But I mean, honestly, like it's been a learning experience. Kind of backs against the wall. What are we gonna do? How are we gonna respond? And I think it's been a really big thing for us, and kind of kickstarted us into maybe like digging ourselves a little hole, and then kind of getting out of that. And honestly, from there, we've kind of just been rolling.
Really have been, especially the last few weekends. You go back to that Kentucky weekend, and then the loss to South Alabama. What was the mood like around this team getting ready for Florida?
So it's funny you say that. Like usually teams will kind of lose four in a row or dig yourself a really big hole. And I mean, the vibes aren't very high. But I think for us it was kind of the opposite. Like we knew that there was going to be a certain point where we would turn it around. I mean, like the after that loss in the midweek, we were kind of all the next practice. It was just like a very fun, exciting practice. Us older guys, we knew that we had a step to take these younger guys and not let them kind of be scared about what the future would look like, but just really be very strong, keep our chest puffed, just like honestly just keep going through the motions and knew that it would change eventually.
And it changed right after that for you guys. With Tyler Fay's no-hitter on that Friday night of the Florida series, just take me through from your perspective getting to watch Tyler as the innings are going along as he chased down some history.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't really know it was happening until probably like the fifth or the sixth inning. I was kind of looking back and looking at the pitch count. I was like, oh, that's getting pretty high. And then I took a look at the hits column and I was like, wait, he has no hits. So I was like, all right, so our defense has to step up. Knew that if we put a couple more runs across it, there was no way he was going to come out of the game. And honestly, as the game kept progressing, it was just he just kept getting better. And I mean, as a defense, it kind of puts more pressure on you than the pitcher because you know that at any given moment there's going to be a ball hit to you and that you really don't want to mess it up. And it was a funny joke that I had. I was like, if there was a ball kicked to my right or left, I was going to kick it, make an error on my end just to give him that no hitter. But I mean, honestly, like it really kickstarted us into right momentum and just really for us to believe in ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about it with Tyler too. I mean, he probably thought he was done about after the seventh inning, but it gets the green light from JJ and Coach Vaughn to go back in the eighth, go back in the ninth. Did that energize you guys as you took the field for those innings?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, honestly, another thing was right when I got up to bat, I think it was like the eighth inning, or I was in the dugout at least. I'm looking around trying to see where T-Fay is at, just to see like where the vibes are at, how he's feeling. And I mean, the guy's pacing around the dugout, ready to go back out. So, I mean, I was ready to just take my 3 swings, strike out just to get him back on the mound, just because these are things that don't happen very often. And, I mean, I would have taken one for the team. But, I mean, that guy's unbelievable, and what a start he had.
Yeah, incredible no-hitter. That starts the weekend. Zane's really good the next night. You get the series win. And then that Sunday game, back and forth at times. You get down in a big hole. Alabama roars back. There's a lot of chirping on both sides. How proud are you of the fact that Alabama spoke loudest that day with the bat and with the arms you had on the mound?
I mean, super proud of our guys. I mean, there's something that we've always talked about with Coach Vaughn is like we're going to be able to step up to that line and not cross it. And I think that's kind of what we did. I mean, more often than not, we're not going to really start the trash talking. It's kind of just going to come to us, and that really fires our team. Usually, like when things like that happen, the guys kind of really respond in a really good way. And I mean, I think we did an amazing job. Just like our backs was kind of against the wall, kind of dug ourselves a little hole, and just really got out of it. Really, yeah.
Yeah, it was incredible. And again, you keep the winning ways going. We saw some more talk the next weekend against the Auburn Tigers as well. But Alabama against Auburn, first time you've gotten to play against Auburn at home in Tuscaloosa. How electrifying was that atmosphere?
I mean, it was awesome. Yeah, like you said, the prior 2 years, it was always going to Auburn. I never really liked it, honestly. It never really ended up in our favor. But, I mean, having Auburn at home with an amazing crowd kind of just set the tone that we really needed. And, I mean, we kind of showed out for the crowd and just honestly played for each other. Never really looked too far ahead. Obviously go out Friday night, really stomp on them. And Saturday we didn't come out thinking about Friday night win. We were just thinking about like, hey, let's just take on this inning by inning and just see where it goes from there. Yeah.
And it led to some good things. Bryce hits the walk-off on Saturday. And then for you, it was really your base running that was the defense in that bottom of the eighth. I mean, I know you take pride in your hitting, want to hit as many home runs as you can, but you got to love the way you're impacting the game right now on the base paths.
Yeah, I mean, clearly struggling up on the plate and just hitting wise. But, I mean, for me, I've never really thought about, like, my struggles. I'm just kind of thinking about how I can impact, help the team win in any shape, way, or form. And I mean, like, for me, it was just like, I know that my speed's a really big advantage for me and for us. So I know that once I get on, it's a funny joke we have, it's an automatic triple. So I mean, yeah, I was just trying to get on, manufacture some runs, and that's kind of what I did.
Yeah, have you enjoyed running more this year? Because you surpassed your total from last
Yeah.
year, I mean, pretty quickly early on this season.
Yeah, I mean, I've loved it. I mean, Coach Vaughn has given me the green light more often than not, and I mean, I think it kind of benefits us in a way. I've also learned from the coaching staff like how to run, how to be a good runner, good base runner, and good counts and stuff like that. But I mean, like for the most part, it's been such an amazing journey.
It really has been leading you to your junior season. We have a bobblehead coming out
Yeah.
of you for this weekend. First of all, is that kind of surreal knowing that people are going to be having a Justin LeBron Alabama bobblehead forever?
Yeah, I mean, it's super cool to see. You know, we started with Coach Vaughn's, and we kind of have that one of those in my house. But I mean, it's crazy that like I've kind of became such a big statue in Alabama baseball, and it's unbelievable just to have my own bobblehead for a night. So yeah, incredible.
That's really cool. How much have you enjoyed this experience being a student athlete here at Alabama?
Unbelievable. I mean, just the resources and just the people and team you kind of have here is just like no other. I mean, I've spoke to numerous other guys that have either transferred from other programs or transferred from this program to other programs for whatever the reason may be. But I mean, no one ever says that Alabama's not Alabama. It really is what everyone thinks it is. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's even better, I would say. The people here is just what makes it Alabama. I mean, that's kind of just why I've loved and kind of never left. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I've seen you at some basketball games. I know you guys got to football games. You've made some good friendships as well with some players on other teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just one big family. I think the dining hall really sets the tone with all the athletes just eating in there together. You know, when you're a freshman coming in, you kind of don't really know anybody. You're a little bit nervous because you don't know if you're going to make friends besides the baseball team. And I think the dining hall kind of just like sets the tone with that. And also the football games and just like you guys are always around each other, whether that's with softball, baseball, football, even like any sport. I mean, like when you get to know these other guys and just be around them all the time, it just kind of creates some good friendships.
Absolutely. That takes us to where we are here in 2026. Let's wind it back all the way to the start of your baseball journey. Tell us, first of all, where you're from.
Yeah, so I'm from Miramar, Florida. Well, actually, I moved to Coconut Creek this past summer, but most of my life was spent in Miramar, Florida. Started baseball when I was about 3 years old. I was actually born in New York in the Bronx, but I moved to Miramar when I was about like 4-ish. And kind of just like started ever since there. Baseball was just something that I played on my free time. Never really thought it would turn into this. I was always very undersized, very skinny, and just loved playing the game. And it wasn't until probably like my high school, like senior year, I'd say, that I kind of thought that, okay, this is something that I could probably turn into a profession. And really just like enjoyed the people around, enjoyed the friendships, always respected the game, and it kind of repaid me in a very good way. I was actually prior committed to Rice, decommitted, came to Alabama, and just kind of came here and knew that there was an opportunity to play as a freshman, and just kind of took it and ran with it. Yeah.
You really have. So, born in the Bronx, did you grow up a Yankees fan?
I am. I'm a true Yankees fan. Yeah. My dad's from Castle Hill, or not Castle, I'm sorry, Queens. My mom lived in New York for quite some time as well. So, I mean, it's kind of in my blood.
Yeah, we've seen some jump throws from you, too. So, is that Jeter influence right there?
Definitely. He was my favorite shortstop, favorite player growing up for a very long time. So, I mean, I learned a lot of things from him.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the best. So you mentioned committed to Rice for a little bit. Did you enjoy kind of the recruiting process? And then once you first got to learn about Alabama, what made it stand out?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a very rocky thing for me. I wouldn't say I enjoyed it, to say the less, but I would definitely say that it was a journey. I was just never somebody who was a big standout player, as most people think that I always was. I really wasn't. I was really a small kid from Miramar that just knew that he loved baseball and just wanted to see where it went from there. But it wasn't until I played in the Jupiter tournament, which is like a really big one down in Florida, and I kind of played really good. And Alabama, there was a lot of really good big schools there. And I decided, I think I spoke with one of the coaches who had connections here, and he was like, hey, I think it's probably in your best interest to just like open up the recruiting process and see like what you can get from it. Little did I know that an SEC school, Alabama, would come reaching out. But that was the only thing that I even had. So, I mean, I kind of took a chance, and I was like, listen, like I'm all in for playing in the SEC. I knew that I had a lot of growth to do, but I mean, just was like, I'm all for it. I'm ready to go. Yeah.
So you make that decision to come to Alabama, but then everything gets upended a little bit when we have a coaching staff change. And then I know Coach Vaughn gets the job, and I believe he said one of the first things he did was get on the phone with
Right.
you, also come down to Miramar and talk with you. What do you remember about those early conversations and sticking with your Alabama commitment?
Yeah, I mean, that was, I think, what sold it for me. A new coach coming in and immediately coming to visit me in my own home. I think that was kind of one of the biggest things that like sparked in my mind was like, okay, like I can see myself going and playing for him. And just like the fact that he was so family orientated, to me, that's so big. That's like everything for me. Like I want to feel part of a family. Family's huge to me. And I mean, the moment I stepped on campus here, like that's exactly what that was and is never shied away from that. I mean, even to this day, I still go to Coach Vaughn's house, and I mean, the whole team will be there. We'll go and just chill and just things like that. I think that to me, it's just more than just like baseball itself, and it's the relationships you build with it. Yeah,
Family oriented, faith oriented as well. And we always see
super.
the cross on your
Right.
eye black and stuff like that. How important is that?
Super important. I mean, baseball is such a hard sport, and a lot of it comes into with the mental game. And I think Christ is really just for me what kind of sets me apart. And like, whenever I'm struggling, or even at my highest of highs, I'm just like, I know that there's a path that Jesus and wants me to walk, and the reason that I'm playing baseball is not just to play and show everyone the capabilities that I have, but it's the capabilities that He gave me to show. And that's why I wear the cross on my face to show everyone that, yeah, like I'm a great player, but it's not because of me. It's because of Jesus.
That's outstanding. So that's been part of your baseball journey again here to Alabama. Now you're in your junior season. There's always a lot of chatter, a lot of buzz
Yeah.
about what could be down the road, but how much are you enjoying just kind of every practice, every game you get to play, knowing this could be the last
Right.
go around you have in an Alabama jersey?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is that playing on a team is everything. I don't really look too far ahead in the draft and stuff like that, just because I want to enjoy the moments that I have in the now. You never really know what can happen in the future, but I'm just saying for the most part, like for me, just taking day by day, step by step, and just enjoying the guys that I have around me, knowing that I may never play with them again. I may never see a lot of them again, and I want to do something here that we haven't done in a very long time. That's the goal of just not just myself, but the team that we have here. And I mean, like, just the fact that we buy into the process each and every day. We hang out with each other almost every day. And I mean, like, it creates what is being created here. And that just starts with the coaches.
It really does. And then, of course, your name is Justin Lebron. So with that, I'm sure you've had some of the worst jokes about about LeBron James, as well as some really funny ones. Anything stands out to your mind, or anything you get tired of seeing on
Yeah.
social media or anything like that?
I'd say for the most part, like I'm pretty used to it now. It kind of just goes in one ear throughout the other. But I mean, everyone asks me, "Are you related?" And it's just like, come on, let's think about that for a little bit. But I mean, it's fun to think about that I'm even in the same talks as LeBron James. I mean, guy's an amazing basketball player, obviously one of the greatest of all time. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it can get much as we go to like away series and guys are just chirping me about being LeBron and stuff like that. But I mean, what comes with it, and I love it. Yeah,
Did you like LeBron at all when he was like with the Heat or anything like that?
I loved LeBron when he was with the Heat.
That was a good era.
It was a great era until he left and kind of shattered my heart. And so I don't know if I like him anymore.
Understood. Well, I don't like him right now because every time I type your name on my phone, it automatically capitalizes the B, and I'm like, no, that's not
oh
Justin
my
LeBron.
goodness. Yeah, that's another thing. When people capitalize the B, it's like, hey, mine's actually not capitalized. It's funny. There's a joke that they call me the lowercase b.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's like one of my nicknames now.
I'm gonna have to use that on radio. That's good. So as we continue throughout this season, obviously huge weekend coming up against the Arkansas Razorbacks. I imagine you love the road atmospheres we play in front of the SEC too. Just what are you going to continue pouring into this team? What can our fans expect out of you the rest of the year?
Yeah, honestly, I'm just going to be very hardworking. No matter the outcome, I'm just going to send my stuff every single day. But I think when it comes to the team, I think one of the biggest things that we need to do a really good job as is staying the course and not really feeding into the rat poison. I think that's really big with us. Obviously, we're doing a lot of really good things right now. But, I mean, the good thing is that the season's not ending anytime soon. So, I mean, the goal for us is to continue to be a very good team, to stay hot, obviously, throughout the rest of the year. But, I mean, not feed into the external factors of, like, rankings and things like that. I think for us, as long as we can stay the course, just honestly, the man in the arena is a really big thing for us. Everyone who is playing, and that's really like buying into the team, buying into like the winning and the losing and all that stuff that we do into the arena is going to be huge for us. I think that's one of the things that we need to focus on.
We're excited to see it. Well, Justin LeBron, best of luck with everything coming up for you. We look forward to the bobblehead, the Arkansas series this weekend. But thank you for the time you've given us on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. All the best. Roll Tide.
Thank you. Roll Tide.
Here we at Braxton.
Challenge, pick up, baby.
Here we go. Is that one of those? Oh, that. Oh, selfie? Hell yeah.
Appreciate the time of Justin LeBron. As I mentioned earlier, he was with us along with Pauline Love and then Kalen DeBoer, a loaded show that we had on Hey Coach earlier this week here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. And now we go back to Monday night at Baumhauer's for that conversation with Kalen DeBoer, as I was joined on stage by Tyler Watts giving his impressions of what he's seen from the Crimson Tide in spring practice as well. Here's a look back to our Hey Coach conversation with Kalen DeBoer. We're glad to welcome you back to Baumhauer's Victory Grill here in Tuscaloosa. This is Roger Hoover. Pleased to be joined by the color analyst for the Crimson Tide Sports Network on football, former Alabama quarterback Tyler Watts. Let's hear it for Tyler. And then the head football coach of the University of Alabama, Kalen DeBoer. Roll Tide, Coach.
Roll Tide. Roll Tide.
We're glad to have you here. It's a new year. It's a new team. How's the 2026 group starting to take shape in spring practice?
It's good. First of all, brought in the varsity crew, right? No Chris Stewart. I was going to do something. I see we got the Masters going on here, and that right. We got the Masters here, so the guys are doing a great job. In all seriousness, they're what I love about right now. What we're doing is just everything, each and every day. It's just a steady, incline of what we're bringing and how we're getting better. Really, there's the highs, but the highs aren't so high where all of a sudden there's a drop off with the lows. And so every day isn't perfect, but these guys are bringing an attitude. They're bringing an effort. That's what I expect out of them. That's the ask that I have for them. That's the ask that I have for the staff.
And there's been a lot of turnover as well with your group ever since the Rose Bowl came to a close. What have you liked about some of the new guys that arrived in January?
They're excited. They're excited about the opportunity to get to Alabama, and they're really appreciative of the resources. They're appreciative of the staff, and I think they're appreciative of their teammates and how they've been accepted in. And a lot of that goes both ways, right? When you put the work forth that's expected in our program, you'll be accepted in, because our guys that are here, what do they want? They want to be successful. They want to have a great football team, a great football season this fall. And when you come in with the right attitude, put forth the effort, show that you got some accountability and discipline, the guys that were here, they'll open their arms and help show you the way and help teach you the things that you don't know.
So a lot's changed over the last several years in college football. One that's really stuck out with us former players is guys changing jersey numbers, and that continues to change. Have you or any of your coaches kind of caught yourself yelling at the wrong guy, thinking it was someone wearing last year's number?
I give some guys a hard time because some of the newcomers that come in are wearing guys that wore jerseys before, right? And those guys moved to different numbers. And I've said, man, that other guy wears their jersey a lot better than you used to. So, we've had some fun with that. But, those guys and sometimes it's, the number that they finally wanted to get back to, which was maybe their high school number or the number of a parent. And, sometimes there's more to it than what you think. You think they just want a jersey number to switch to a single digit, but sometimes it's in honor of family, friends, again, their high school number, whatever it might have been.
You talked about the buy-in being and the kind of how they're continuing to progress. Is there any point, how does it take longer to kind of build that identity of a football team? Because I know you always want to improve on things that maybe you didn't do great last year. You want to be as well balanced on both sides of the ball as you possibly can. Is that something you as a coaching staff can force, or does it have to just organically kind of mature?
You have to be intentional. First of all, you're trying to reestablish what you want your program culture to be, and you can't take anything for granted when it comes to what the expectations are. And so, again, the coaching staff being very intentional on what it's supposed to look like. Our players that are around really kind of showing the way. We got to be, very clear on what's helped us win and where we've fallen short and why when we take a look at it. And it might be, over the course of and trends of what our program's done in the last 2 years and what we've been trying to get across to our guys. And then also just taking in what's been successful with the playoff teams, the teams that were successful and, why a team won a national championship and, why teams, rise to the top. And there's a lot of times there's some reasons for that, right, that are consistent with the best teams in the country.
Just kind of curious what your thoughts are on spring training or spring practice in general. I know last year we weren't able to have a spring game. It was more of a organized structure there. Do you enjoy that, or do you kind of think that college football would be beneficial moving more to like an OTA type of
Yeah, well,
deal?
either way, we'd be out on the field coaching, and it just depends on when that timing is. I mean, this is what you're used to as a coach and at the college level, and so this is what the routine, kind of the mindset and how to develop and build your team at this time of year. But everything's evolving, everything's changing. As we figure out a portal window, maybe that someday is different than what it is. I'm not saying better because I don't know what is the best, and I know it's hard when some teams are playing. It's hard when you're playing and the portal window is right around the corner. It can be a distraction, for some guys, but, I'm open to evolving. There's always some way to do things better.
Years ago, I think 30, 40 years ago, they used to have former players would actually scrimmage the players.
Yeah.
Any chance me and you could get out there and take on these guys?
Not me. I know that, but I've seen some of the alumni that have gone through the program, and they're still in pretty good shape. So it'd be fun to see them out there. I think we'd probably draw a pretty good crowd if we put some of those guys out there that put the pads on and get after it. It'd be quite a spring game.
The jersey and the pads wouldn't be near as big as they used to be. They wouldn't fit quite as tight, would they?
Right.
Yeah,
No.
Sounds like number 14 wants to get back out there.
Well, some guys shrink and some guys grow.
Yeah.
So
Skill guys grow. Linemen get smaller.
funny how that
That's
works.
how
Yeah.
it is.
It's funny. Speaking of the offensive line, a lot of changes, not just with your coaching staff for that group, but some of the personnel as well. What were some of the first steps when looking at seeing what you wanted to do on the line for this spring and ultimately for the fall?
Are you talking once the guys were here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't know if you wanted to get it even to who we had brought in as far as how we got to that point. But, Coach Clem has done a great job. Really, again, you got to start over from scratch. There are so many new faces. Michael Carroll is really the guy that took the most snaps that is back. Will Sanders is a guy that was around. But other than that, a lot of pretty much it's all new or guys like Jackson Lloyd, who was in the program a year ago and the last season. And, now is getting an opportunity. So Coach Clem just really kind of laying the expectations, the foundation, his way of communicating. I think, every coach communicates differently and kind of that rhythm, that cadence, the phrases, the things that, you're constantly trying to hammer into a guy's head that are important to us, that need to be important to these players. Things just as far as communication probably is the biggest thing, and what we call things. And there was a little bit of change. There's a lot of similarities. Our system overall offensively is the same, but there's things that certainly Coach Clem brought that we liked, that we evolved to and added to what we've done already.
Is that something? I mean, think about 2 years ago, the style of offense y'all ran differed greatly from last year. How long until you kind of know what you have that you're working with and what you can do with them?
Yeah, I think it. So, for run game, for example, I mean, there's zone plays, there's duo plays, there's outside pin and pull, there's counters. A lot of it, it's really the same. It's just what are you tagging to it? What are you doing on the outside? Are you an RPO team? Are you going in to block with the receivers? What's the window dressing that you're putting on these run plays? The same thing with pass plays. The base of it is the same. And then it's also how much are you calling these plays and the variations of it. And You'll get a taste of that on Saturday. Some of it will look different because there are certainly some differences with what we're doing with some of our personnel. And then some of it will be a little bit of the same, the foundation of what we do.
We continue at Baumhower's Roger Hoover, Tyler Watson, the head coach of the Crimson Tide, Kalen DeBoer. Coach, what's this week in practice as you prepare for Saturday, the Golden Flake A-Day game? What's going to be most important over the next few days?
Yeah, we'll practice Tuesday, Thursday, and then, of course, Saturday. And I think there's a lot. Last week we put in a lot of the next kind of phase of installation, and the guys, will continue to add a few things here and there, but really you're trying to refine and kind of trying to build on what we put in last week. And so both offense and defense, it's one thing when you're putting on one side of the ball your things that you're going to add to, your system and installation, but then you got to go against the other side, which is also putting it in. So it's not just what you're doing, but what you're going against. And so this week, we'll continue the situational stuff. We're working a lot of red zone, and that's probably primarily most of the emphasis. And then next week we'll get into a lot of 2-minute drill. That's after the spring game is over. So after A-Day. So we still have 5 practices left, and we'll make sure we take advantage of every single one of them.
You've talked about how pleased you are with some of the transfers that have come in and their production and leadership on the field. Who are some of the younger guys that maybe have been in the program for a couple of years who have really caught your eye this spring, and maybe we haven't seen them out there on the field, but definitely are going to contribute this year?
Yeah, I think, thinking through the position groups, most of them are guys that probably are going into their second year. A lot of the first year and second year guys have played as freshmen and for sure as redshirt freshmen or true sophomores. We've had a lot of youth on the football field the last 2 years, but maybe a guy like Derek Meadows sticks out in my mind. You saw lots here get on the football field, the receiver's position, especially the second half of the season. But Derek is a long, receiver that can really cover a lot of ground, has made a lot of nice plays here all spring. I think the other, you saw Caleb Edwards at tight end a lot last year, but he's really taken the next steps, has had now a winter and off season where last year he came in the summer and had to hit the ground running. Marshall Pritchett, those two guys together, along with Josh Ford, who's transferred in, and Jay Lindsay, who was here before, was really guys at that position. I think, defensive back wise, there's a lot of guys that are returning, and that's probably the biggest thing. But Dijon Lee taking the next step, Xavier Brown, those guys are all moving along. Ivan Taylor's had a nice spring, and Red Morgan's had a really nice spring, which that's a name that now has had 2 years on the football field. So excited about some of those guys. Justin and Hill at the outside linebacker or defensive end has had another good spring here. So just guys continue to develop. A lot of our freshmen stepped on the football field. I think we probably had 6 to 8 guys that really played a lot of downs, whether they were starting or played starter snaps. That's the guys that you're going to see continue to grow.
And you have some key pieces as well that had a chance to go in the NFL draft but chose to come back. What does it mean in terms of the leadership of this team and the buy-in when a player like Bray Hubbard decides to come back? So many others, especially in that secondary.
No doubt. Those guys, Bray's a heart and soul guy of our program. He comes in and, when you work hard as he does and makes the plays, and the production that he brings on the football field, it's awesome having those guys back, the leadership, but also the playmaking.
I remember 2 years ago, I came to a practice and I was standing on the sideline, and some of the guys were talking about Bray Hubbard just has a nose. He is always around the football. And I remember watching that, and your philosophy has always been, and you kind of talk about it a little bit, you're not scared to play young guys, are you? What is the thought process behind what allows them to get on a field?
Some of it's out of necessity, right? We lost a lot of guys right when we got here that were kind of in the prime or heading into the prime of their career. Kind of that first January window, really the first couple of days before we even got a chance to step on campus. But that pretty much forced a lot of young guys, whether it was that year or this past year, to go out there and, they were I think our staff doing a good job of recruiting. Got some guys that were capable of stepping on the field. We had some portal additions, but it wasn't like we went all portal, especially in an opportunity probably that we could have had in 2025. So development of the high school guys, I think, is what's going to help you, because you lose these guys to the graduation and also the NFL. That's where the high school development, the high school recruiting, going back to identification and evaluation is critical. And that's what's exciting about these guys that are coming up through the program that we're talking about.
And how special is just all of A-Day, not just the game we're going to see inside Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium, but also the captain's ceremony at Denny Chimes. You're sitting on stage with somebody that has his handprints and cleat mix in the cement at the base of Denny Chimes. How special is just that whole experience?
It is. And the players don't get to see because they're getting ready for, the game and being on the field. But something I know with so many new faces that we want to do, we want to really try to educate our guys on what really happens over there. And some of it's going to happen even after A-Day as we kind of wrap up the spring semester and going into the summer. 45-ish new players, on the football field, 20 plus high school guys, close to that with the transfers. And so, there's a lot of new faces that we need to make sure we're teaching them tradition and them understanding when we say Denny Chimes, what's all over there, So we got some ideas on how to educate these guys.
Well, it's going to be a really busy time coming up on Saturday. I know you love baseball. You were a great baseball player in your own right, of course. In your younger days, you excited to get to Sewell Thomas Stadium. We have baseball right after A-Day, so I know you want fans to make sure they find their way there before their day on campus is over.
Absolutely. Coach Vaughn got it rolling with those guys, and it's awesome that we can set that up to where fans can go watch our guys play some ball and then football, and then go over and watch some baseball as well. So it should be an awesome day, but also a whole awesome weekend for everyone. So hats off to Coach Vaughn and also Coach Murphy, who had another great weekend here. So fun watching all these teams. Coach Love just up here, looking forward to what she does with our basketball team as well.
It's an exciting time. Well, we are really looking forward to the Golden Flake A-Day game coming up on Saturday. Coach DeBoer, just thank you for all the time you've given us here at Baumhauer's tonight. We can't wait to see the Crimson Tide in person once again. But thank you for your time. Roll Tide.
Yeah, thank you. Roll Tide.
We look forward to hearing from Kalen DeBoer during our broadcast coming up on Saturday. The Golden Flake A-Day game coming up at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Now we take a look at our upcoming schedule. Let's see what's coming up across the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Softball on the road at Auburn all weekend, 6 p.m. coming up on Friday nights for the first pitch of that ball game, and then a noon start time on Saturday before their series will wrap up at 1 o'clock on Sunday. The baseball team home against the Arkansas Razorbacks as Alabama keeps trying to build more momentum, 6 p.m. on Friday, and then 4 o'clock on Saturday. That's notable because earlier on Saturday we will have the Golden Flake A-Day game. The game will start at 1 o'clock, but our radio coverage will start at 12:30 all across the network and the Varsity Network app. So if you, again, go to Saban Field for the football game, make sure you go to the Joe, even if it's just for a few innings, to catch some Alabama baseball. Should be a lot of fun against Arkansas, and then that series will close at 1 o'clock on Sunday. Then on Monday, we'll be back with a new edition of Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance, starting at 6 o'clock here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Make sure you subscribe to all of our social media platforms so you won't miss anything coming up from the Crimson Tide Sports Network this weekend, especially if you're watching this right now on YouTube. Go ahead and hit subscribe, turn notifications on so you won't miss anything coming up from us on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. It's going to wrap up this edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Huge thank you to our guest, Justin Lebron. We really appreciate his time, as well as the time of John Lasseter and Austin Mitchell helping produce these interviews and this show, Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. For all of us on the Crimson Tide Sports Network, this is Roger Hoover saying thanks for watching. Enjoy A-Day weekend, maybe some baseball in Tuscaloosa. Best of luck to softball on the road as well against the Auburn Tigers. But until next time, have a great weekend and Roll Tide.